This is a 2022 Lincoln Aviator Black Label, and it is Ford Motor Company's luxury option based off of the Ford Explorer platform, and is the competitor to the Cadillac XT6. And today, I'm going to be bringing you a review of it. My name's Aiden, and you're watching Gone Next. Now, on the exterior of the Aviator, yes, it looks nothing like a Ford Explorer, but its chassis is based on the Ford Explorer, and it even has a Ford Explorer motor in it. But it, like I said, looks nothing like one. It is not as sporty and hardline looking as the Cadillacs are, but I think that's what Lincoln was going for. They were going for a more smoother look in their car to bring out a more luxurious vibe. The large black grille up front with these LED headlights and LED fog lights, and that's about it. There's nothing really notable to talk about up here, but the side is where things get really cool. Not on the exterior, but on the functions they have. Now, one of those things is going to be the adaptive suspension you get as standard on the Black Label version of this car. Now, there is an option to get air ride suspension, which actually lowers the car when it's off and raises it when it's turned on. You also get these 22-inch all-black rims, which add to the stealth look of this car, and a bunch of chrome trim as per expected. Now, another cool thing on the Aviator is that these are not analog door handles. They're actually electric, and you push a button in the door handle to open the door. It's electric, opening on the inside as well with a button too. Now, unlike the Ford Explorer, in the back you do get a massive LED light bar, and you also have these quad exhaust tips down here. Even though they are fake, they lead back to a dual exhaust system, but who cares? They still look good, and it's a luxury SUV, so it's not like that matters. Now, when it comes to the cargo capacities in this car, behind the first row you get 77.7 cubic feet of cargo capacity, and behind that second row you get 41.8 cubic feet. Now, this one has a captain's chair setup, so you get a little more interior volume if you'd like that. You also have power folding and power raising third row, and power folding second row, and plenty of storage tie-down points and connectivity back here, just in case you have any of those third row passengers. Now, let's talk about the powertrain of the Lincoln Aviator Black Label. This one is powered by a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6, the same EcoBoost V6 in the Ford Explorer ST and Platinum. This one makes 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. Now, the cool thing is there's a Lincoln Aviator Black Label Grand Touring, and that uses a hybrid version of this engine, and it can make up to 630 pound-feet of torque, which is something Ford does not offer in their Explorer lineup. So at least you're getting a little more options for a little cooler engine specs than if you were to get a normal Ford Explorer. It's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, the 10R80, if anyone is wondering, and it is a nice and silky smooth ride. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you on the interior is actually the Lincoln chime. Everyone knows the Ford chime. It's annoying. Some people like it. It sounds like someone went into a music studio and designed it to sound that way, and Lincoln is no short of being the same. If you start the car, this is what you get. It's basically Ford's, except 1,000 times more classical. The materials in this car are really nice too. You have nice soft touch materials on the door panel, on the dashboard, center console, steering wheel, and the area around the center control stack. It's a nice place to be. Great technology, Sync 3, which is a little outdated since the Navigator is now using Sync 4. This is a little outdated compared to other systems out there and systems within the Lincoln brand. You have a nice and clean looking digital gauge cluster that you can kind of customize, not that much, but still clean looking. And when it comes to the drive modes, it changes based on the drive modes. If you scroll using this wheel in the center, you can switch between normal, slippery, deep conditions, and you can also go into a sport, and you can go into an eco mode. They call the sport mode Excite, which I think is just so Lincoln of Ford Motor Company to do. You'll see these massive chrome speaker grills on the doors as well. This has a 28 speaker Revel sound system. It sounds incredible, and it's something I never really expected for Lincoln to put in their cars. Steering wheel is also nice. They've kept all the controls very easy and simple to reach. and you can control some of the gauge cluster settings through this, including the heads-up display, which shows things like your range, the speed limit, your current speed, temperature, and the current time. Heated and cooled front seats with dual zone climate control, and you actually have heated and cooled rear seats too. And these seats, speaking of them, are incredible. You have 18 different ways to adjust these seats, including moving the headrests up, down, and in and out using the controls on the door, kind of like you would in a Mercedes-Benz. You have a full-length moonroof back here that stretches all the way back to the second row. You have nice piano black materials on the dashboard, and you have this nice looking wood as well that surrounds the climate controls and the upper areas of the dashboard. As for storage in here, 2 cup holders, some more phone storage with a USB Type-C and USB Type-A connectivity, and in the center console you have plenty of space with a 12-volt socket, and you have a wireless charger in there. Glove box is also a nice size, and if you were interested in this, the owner's manual is actually finished in genuine leather. Oh. And you also get a Lincoln pen. Now, as for the safety systems in this car, this uses a version of Ford Co-Pilot's 360. They call it Lincoln Co-Pilot 360. You have adaptive cruise control, lane centering assist, and lane keep assist as well. And with that adaptive suspension, it will adjust the suspension height and the ride quality based on the conditions of the road using sensors up here in the dot matrix. As for camera systems, speaking of those, you do have a 360-degree camera, front and rear cameras, and side ones as well. Pretty standard for a high-end luxury vehicle, but nonetheless important to mention. Now, in the rear seats of the Lincoln Aviator, it's going to have plenty of space and the same amount of nice materials, though these seats are not as adjustable as the ones up front. You do get sunshades back here for both sides and more of those Revel 28-speaker audio system speakers here. Piano black trim, and the cool thing back here is you actually have a screen back here to where you can control multiple systems in the car. Like I said, you have heated and cooled seats back here, but you can actually control the audio system from back here, just in case you're using this as a car to be chauffeured in, and you could do that through this screen down here. You can also change the air quality and some other settings. Luckily, you can press a button in the front that will lock the audio settings. That way, they cannot access them and really ruin your ride. Now, as for connectivity, you have a USB Type-A, a USB Type-C for charging, and a 150-watt wall outlet, and plenty of storage space in the backseat bins and in the door bins. It truly is a nice place to be, even if you're being chauffeured around or you're just a normal passenger. Here is the biggest problem with Lincoln as a brand. Not the Aviator, not the Navigator, not the Corsair, not the MKZ, not any of those cars. It's a problem with the brand and how the management of the brand has been handled. I believe Lincolns don't sell as well as other luxury American car brands because their marketing is lackluster compared to companies like Cadillac. And it's a shame because this is such a nice car, and the same goes for the Navigator. They're such nice vehicles. The adaptive suspension levels out the road very nicely, and I've driven one, the last video we did of the Aviator. That one had the adaptive air ride suspension, and it was super smooth. This one has adaptive regular hydraulic suspension. It's still very nice and drives very, very well. It uses such a great and punchy powertrain. The Ford Explorer ST's powertrain is something I've always adored because, no, it's not a V8, but it's a very punchy and very powerful engine for its size. 0 to 60 in probably around 5.8 seconds. That's not bad for a big SUV like this one. And I'm not being left to desire more. In traffic, you're gonna have plenty of speed. And that is the 2022 Lincoln Aviator Black Label. It's a great platform just like the Explorer is, and it is a great take on making this a luxury version of the Explorer. If you guys liked the video, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you wanna see more from us, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.